Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. Thanks for tuning into your morning edition for your solar weather. Here, let's check out the conditions right now in the sun. Our solar wind speeds are coming in at a low 325 even kilometers per second with a density of 10.3. Taking a look at the sun, and we do have a sunspot. AR2850 has been finally named. Believe it or not, it's the one in the southern part of our star, just below the equatorial region. If you look behind it, that is a bright active region that is not a sunspot. We are watching in the northeastern limb. That could be another sunspot for us to watch as far as any more additional. But we are at sunspot number 15. So this is pretty small sunspot. And honestly, I think it was premature as far as labeling it yesterday, as it wasn't even in existence. So we only got 5 days in a row without sunspots, which to me was a bit of a surprise. If I was going to expect anything as far as sunspots for a few days, I wouldn't have predicted 5. I would have taken like 2 or 3 and called it a good day. But nonetheless, it is important to mention that we are exactly where we were in 2010 with spotless days. Let's go over to SPACEWEATHER.com and check that out real quick, because that's kind of important information. So here we are, taking a look at our previous years of sunspots. And I like to watch the comparison of the years, like 2010, 11 years from then is now, of course. So we're looking at 51 days back in 2010 after we got done with the deep solar minimum, one of the deepest in 150 years. This one was pretty deep as well. I think we had more sunspots, or spotless days, I should say, during the minimum period of this last solar minimum. Now, 51 days, and we have still several months to go in 2021. Actually, we're getting pretty close. It's almost September, which is almost a quarter away from being 2022. However, I do believe that we will see a couple more spotless days. Not very many. A couple more, maybe. Just barely eclipsing 2010. Now, I've been watching this number all year because I want to see how much weaker this cycle is starting up against the starting up of solar cycle 24. And so far, just based on this information, is about even. Even if we only get a couple more days of spotless days this year, it's not enough to say solar cycle 25 is definitely going to be weak or strong. It's just not enough, folks. There's a lot that goes into this stuff. And, I think sometimes we see these flashy headlines and folks get, whoa, wait a minute. Like this one. Solar max might come a year early. Solar cycle 25 is heating up faster than expected. It's kind of weird to say that, though. We just had 5 days without sunspots. But anyway, I like Dr. Tony Phillips, so I'm not going to hate here. Continuing a trend that started last year, they overperformed the official forecast issued by NOAA, NASA's Solar Cycle 25 prediction panel in 2019. The official forecast calls for Solar Cycle 25 to peak in July of 2025. However, a better fit to the current data shows Solar Cycle 25 peaking in October of 2024. This is just outside the 8-month error bars for the panel's forecast. July 21st was remarkable. July of 2021 was a remarkable month. We had X-flare, we had 6 sunspots, yada, 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 yada. Okay, I got you. What they don't mention, though, is how small and weak these sunspots are. Now, we're looking at this chart right here, and you're thinking, oh my God, look how far away that red arrow or that line is. Oh my God. Oh, we're solar max. Holy cow. It's no grand solar no, folks, come on. And I'll show you why I'm not making a big deal about this deviation right here, okay? Let's go over to a little more handy-dandy chart. Oh, where did you go? Where did you go? All right, let's go back here real quick. I'll find it, folks. Don't you worry. I'll find it. But the point I'm trying to make here is that, yes, we do have some subtle changes. We do see some differences here. Is it enough? No. In fact, Mario was showing me something yesterday on Twitter A couple of guys predicted solar cycle 25 to be somewhere in the 232 smooth sunspot range number. I'm like, wow, that's a big number. It is a big number. However, the people that made this prediction actually came back out and made a correction and said, we predicted the Terminator event too early. If it would happen today, sunspot numbers would be adjusted to 195. Now, so to me, they're confirming that this Terminator event has not yet happened, which means the further away from 10 years, by the way, 10 years was April. So now we are looking at, and let's look at this sunspot data first. Let's look at solar cycle 24 and 25. There's where we are right now. This is what some people are saying we might see a max by here and not here. How big of a deal is it that we see a sharp incline and then a steep decline for solar cycle 26? I don't know that it is that big of a deal. It's not admitting that GSM is not happening. Let's go back all the way, solar cycles to 1900. Guys, what you'll notice here is that there's variations of how the sunspot cycles decline. The last time we saw a solar cycle that was as weak as the one we just got through, in my opinion, solar cycle 15 going into 16 has a similar pattern. Check out where we saw values spiking up here at the beginning of 16. As you see, it's very hard to see. I'll try to see if I can concentrate this area a little bit better here. Let's do this. Let's pull this back here. 15 into 16. As you can see, right here on solar cycle 15, heading into 16, we were, some thought, oh boy, here comes the max early, right? And then, look at that. A period of time where sunspot activity just plummeted and then shot back up into 16. My point I'm trying to make is that no matter what, all we can do is make an estimated scientific guess, an educated guess on how and when. Basing it off of charts like this and data that says, oh, we've had an active sunspot season, I beg to differ. And I say that because I've been covering this now for quite some time. And I can tell you these sunspots that we're talking about here earlier in solar cycle 25 are weak, very small, very weak. Even if the maximum does occur in October of 2024, that does not concern me either, because I know a lot of people who believe that solar cycle 25 began somewhere in December of 19. So in a way, that's 5 years off from the max. It's not too terribly off. But to me, there are people out there making adjustments to their forecast all over the place. Just like I said, the gentleman that predicted the Terminator event of 232 smooth sunspots for this cycle has now said we over-predicted solar cycle 25. We have not seen the Terminator event yet. If it happened today, they said that their numbers would be adjusted to 195. Now that's a 40 sunspot drop, and just based on a calculation that was off by error. So what if they're wrong again about solar cycle 25 and picking up intensity? Are they going to come back in 4 months and say, okay, smooth sunspot numbers of 150, because that's 40 from where they're at now, to finally the point where they get around 2023 and like, all right, we've got it better in focus. It is going to be around 135, 140 smooth sunspot numbers. Time will tell, folks. There's all kinds of sensational headlines out there. Is it going to happen early? Is there no GSM all the way? Is this going to reverse? Is the Terminator event going to spike? I feel like the narrative in the mainstream is that people want to see sunspots. Like the AGW wants to push and see the sunspots, and they'll do anything they can to reach to fit that narrative. That's what I feel like is happening right now. So don't be fooled by the flashy headlines, folks. Take a look at the data. Look at past years of sunspot activity. Know that we don't really know anything right now and won't. In fact, if you look at previous cycles, you'll see the variations of how things jumped up and went down. No cycle is the same. Look at this. You got sharp decline, sharp increase, a little bit of a rounded out here. This was a long, slow minimum, in my opinion. Look how long it took. We were at the bottom for quite some time. Now we're shooting back up because we're heading towards another solar max. A weak one, I might add. So I think it's too early to start saying, well, we're going to see more sunspots this solar cycle, and solar cycle 25 is really ramped up, because I want you to pay attention to solar cycle 15. Let me move this back again. Solar cycle 15 saw the same kind, or into 15, into 16, saw the same kind of action, and then dropped to 9.1 monthly values. Okay? After having a huge start, 26.9, 29, 34.7, folks are thinking, oh boy, this solar cycle is getting up. Of course, they probably weren't following it quite like we were. And even right now, folks, you compare solar cycle 16 to where we are now, monthly values of 23.1. Wow. Not 17.4 in this part of the minimum, or the solar cycle, versus 2010. We had a drop down into the 18.8, and then slowly but surely started climbing our way through mid-2010 to the 36.4 monthly values of smooth sunspots. So I just don't know. Okay, we had one anomaly where we had 6 sunspots that bumped up our value of 34.5, but before that, we're talking 1.5. 7.5, 0.06, 14.6, 10.4. So these sunspot monthly value numbers, in my opinion, are low. Now, the recent one, 34.4 for July, okay, we'll just keep watching, though. There's July of 2010, 25.2. Folks, I'm not going to sit here and argue that, just because we're seeing a monthly value of 34.4 compared to last time in this point of the cycle, doesn't mean, we're taking off. August of 2010 was 29.6, and then 33.6 in October. This 34 is an anomaly. Yes, it did jump up. Yes, we had a busy July, but let's take a couple of months and kind of analyze this before we start saying, we might be in a max earlier. There may not be no GSM. I get it. People don't want you to know about grand solar minimum. They don't want you to know about the challenges that come with this. They don't want you to know about the food issues we're going to have. They want to be in control of the entire situation. So the mainstream media narrative is going to tell you things that shows you that it's warming and that there's no grand solar minimum coming. Now, again, I have the utmost respect for Dr. Tony Phillips at SPACEWEATHER.com. I'm not saying he's ruining the plot. I'm just saying we have to really just take a step back and watch the data, honestly. It's nice to be first. It's nice to be the one who got it right, and I get that. But at the same time, it causes a lot of hoopla for the other side of the fence. All right, let's take a look at some weather for today, tomorrow, and other days alike. Today, here we are, August 4th, across most of the country. It's going to be dry in the southwest. They don't need that. Rain across the northern plain states into central plains. Showers and storms across the southern parts of the United States as well, reaching all the way up into Ohio. Dry day in New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, but showers off and on across the northeast. And if you live in Boston or Connecticut or anything near the coast, you are going to see heavy rain totals. In fact, it's a good thing that storm is off land because it could drop tons of rain. See some coastal flooding possible, but not really going to be the case. And then we'll take a look at Thursday. Tomorrow, showers across the northern Great Plains states into the Great Lakes. Also, showers again for the south, rain for the northwest, and dry conditions, unfortunately, once again for the southwest. And then still dry in the southwest by Friday. Showers still in the south going up the east coast. Lots of high pressure across the United States. And what that means, folks, well, that means that we are going to see beautiful, gorgeous weather across the country. Skies like this, right? Beautiful weather out there. Now, I do want to talk about temperatures. We are seeing a lot more moderate temperatures happening right now than we usually have. And the reason why I wanted to mention this is that I've noticed the anomaly maps for the daily averages for where I'm circling here, folks, is all in the blue. We are below average for most of this area. that I'm circling right now. Yeah, we're seeing some heat here and some heat here, but we are seeing cooler than average temperatures for the dog days of summer, folks. This is mainly 70s and 80s up here, maybe some 60s in spots of upstate New York and Vermont and New Hampshire. Dog days of summer, folks. More chilly weather here across the Central Rockies as well. Still hot as hell down in the southwest and across the south. Very beautiful summer-like weather. But guys, this area right here, if it's dry, sunny, you're enjoying some really beautiful, crisp air right now for this time of year. Our low temperatures, well, look at that. We're seeing some purples already across parts of Colorado and Wyoming and northern parts of California in the upper elevations. So just some pleasant, beautiful weather for most of the country. It almost feels like fall is on the way. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me on this morning update. Please tune in again for our next grand solar minimum update. Until then, we hope everyone has a great day. We'll talk soon.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.